Hello everyone. Thank you for coming to the Sailing Basics ASA. In this lesson, you will learn about the type of boats, parts of the boats, points of sailing, race courses, and where to continue your research. This could be the first step into a new world of freedom and adventure. Just think that 70% of the world are oceans. Parts of a sailing boat. It's important to know the different parts of the boat to communicate effectively with your crew and to understand how the boat works. Here we have the main parts of a sailing boat. We have the mainsail, the jib, the bow, the stern. The stern is the back side of the boat. The starboard side is the right side of the boat. The port side is the left side of the boat. The bow is the front of the boat. We have two sails. We have the mainsail, okay, and then we have the jib. The jib is the front sail. The mainsail is the back sail. Then we have all sorts of different parts. We have the boom as well, which is the one that crosses, and we have to always be careful with because it can be dangerous if it hits our head. So learning and knowing how the boat works is essential to your safety. Boats come in different shapes and sizes. Here are some examples. These are some old and new Olympic boat classes. You can see some dinghies, but you also can see some keelboats. We'll learn about the difference between dinghies and keelboats later. You can see some that are very physical and some less physical. You can see some that are for women, some that are for male, and some that are for mixed crew. The choice is there. These are two of the most typical dinghies. The Optimist, it's a dinghy for children under 14, and the Laser, it's a dinghy for children over 14. Now, if you see, many of the parts are similar, but the boats look completely different. Try to learn as many parts as you can. So, how many parts can you name in this dinghy? 3 parts, 4 parts, 6 parts, 9 parts. The more parts you know, the more you will be prepared to set sail. Nowadays, there are different types of boats, but the main two different types of boats are the dinghies and the keelboats. So what is the difference? They're both recreational sailing boats, but typically a dinghy is smaller and lighter because it does not have a keel. It has a centerboard. So what is a keel? A keel is a very heavy structure stuck at the bottom of the boat that prevents the boat from heeling or capsizing. It can weigh more than a ton. On the other hand, what is a centerboard? A centerboard tends to only weigh a few kilos and it's much lighter. Therefore, it only prevents the dinghy from drifting but not from capsizing. That's why in the dinghies, it's important to level the boat with the weight of the person, as you can see in the picture. The top picture is an example of a dinghy being balanced by the person, and the bottom picture is an example of a keelboat, not necessarily balanced by the people, but balanced most by the keel. This is an interesting picture. Keels are so heavy and strong that many can hold the whole structure and weight of a keelboat that is usually more than a ton, compared to the much lighter weight of a dinghy. Dinghies tend to weigh no more than 100 kilos. Can you tell where the wind is coming from? You have birches, palm trees, leaves. You can look at the water, you can look at the flags, and nowadays you can even look at the internet to see where the wind is coming from. How does a sailing boat work downwind? 3,000 years ago, there were already boats sailing, and these boats were typically sailing downwind. What they were doing, they were placing a sail in a perpendicular direction of the wind and catching as much wind as they could, like we see on the picture. Easy, right? With the time, boats evolved and they were able to go in other directions in relation to the wind. If we see on the first picture, boats nowadays can go on a run, which means downwind, on a ridge, which means side winds, and they can even go upwind, which is close hold, which we will look into detail in the next slides. Here we have 8 boats going in different directions that are summarized in 5 different points of sailing. Let's go to the points of sailing A, which is the top boat. That boat is going nowhere. Okay, the sail is flapping, it's trying to go upwind, but it's not going to go anywhere because the sail is flapping and it's not catching any wind. So since it's not catching any wind, it's not generating any energy, so therefore it's going nowhere. It'll possibly be taking downwind because the sail is flapping. Then we have boat B. Okay, we have the boat B going on a close hold on the starboard side and boat B going on a close hold on the port side. If we see on this direction, we're going against the wind. So the sail will hit this, the wind will hit the sail and the boat will go upwind. If we see the position of the sail, it streams towards the middle or towards one corner of the boat, but we will try to keep the sail as close as possible to the middle. Then we're going to talk about position C, which is called a beam bridge. On a beam bridge, the wind, the real wind, is coming from the side of the boat. So the sail typically will have to be opened on a 45-degree angle so that the wind hits the sail and then leaves the sail on the back, pushing the boat forward. Then if we go to position D, this will be called a broad ridge. It means that the wind will come from the top, it will hit the sail can be on a perpendicular way to the wind, and then this will actually move the boat forward. Okay, and then we have the boat E that is on a run, and the boat E is placing again the sail perpendicular to the wind and is running down. Now, let's see if we understood this in the next slide. So here is the situation. Where is the wind coming from? If the boat is going from A to B with this sail setting, look at the sail, look at the cardinal points, and imagine where is the wind coming from. Where is the wind coming from if the boat is going from A to B with this sail setting? Where is the wind coming from if the boat is going from A to B with this sail setting? Look at the cardinal points. This boat is on a broad ridge. Look at the cardinal points and decide where is the wind coming from. Something is going wrong here. Where is the wind coming from? To sail upwind, we'll have to be in a close hold point of sailing. We'll have to go straight and then tack again. So basically, we'll have to be doing zigzag to reach an upwind point. Look at the two pictures. Just a little revision. Remember that when the sail is flapping, we're in irons. When we're sailing upwind with our sails really close, that will be called close hold. When we open the sails a little bit and the wind is coming from the side of the boat, we'll be on a beam reach. When the wind is coming from one of the back sides of the boat, okay, then we will be on a broad reach. And when the wind is coming from the back of the boat, from the stern, we will be on a run. We will be completely downwind. Now, look at the boat, look at the sail, look at the wind, and remember what point of sailing is this boat on. If you have problems remembering, look on the right side. There will be a picture with the different points of sailing. This will help you identify in what point of sailing that boat is and how to better set the sails in relation to the wind. Now, look at the boat, look at the sail, look at the wind, and remember what point of sailing is this boat on. If you have problems remembering, look on the right side. There will be a picture with the different points of sailing. This will help you identify in what point of sailing that boat is and how to better set the sails in relation to the wind. Now, look at the boat, look at the sail, look at the wind, and remember what point of sailing is this boat on. If you have problems remembering, look on the right side. There will be a picture with the different points of sailing. This will help you identify in what point of sailing that boat is and how to better set the sails in relation to the wind. Now, look at the boat, look at the sail, look at the wind, and remember what point of sailing is this boat on. If you have problems remembering, look on the right side. There will be a picture with the different points of sailing. This will help you identify in what point of sailing that boat is and how to better set the sails in relation to the wind. Bad news, the sail is flapping. So where is the wind coming from and what is going wrong? So look at the picture on the left. Can you tell in what point of sailing is that boat? Look at the sails. See that the sails are almost in the center of the boat or in the corner. Now look at the picture on the left. Look at the true wind direction. See the sails. In what point of sailing is that boat going? Have you guessed? If you find it very hard, you can look at the picture on the right. Now, look at the picture on the left. In what point of sailing is the boat in the picture? Imagine where is the wind coming from. Look at the sails. The wind is coming on a perpendicular direction of the sails, the rear wind. This is the laser, one of my favorite dinghies. Look at the sail. Can you tell in what direction, in what point of sailing is this boat going? In what point of sailing is this boat going? Look at the sails. If you find it hard, you can look at the picture on the right to give you an idea of the point of sailing that this boat is most likely to go. The movement in sailing is not just produced by the wind force or by the sails. It's also produced by the keel force or the resistance of the keel. So the movement in sailing is the result of a conjunction of forces. Look at the two pictures. The difficult part starts. Now you have a race. How are you going to sail this race? What points of sailing you're going to choose to get to the buoys faster? Look at your start, look at the second buoy, look at the third buoy, and look at your finish line. Now, what point of sailing are you going to choose to go from the start to B, from B to A, and from A to finish? Now, this course, it's a little bit more difficult because you will have to go completely upwind. Do you remember how to go upwind? Completely upwind. So, how are you going to go from the start to B? That's the most difficult. Then from B to A, that should be fine. And from A to the finish line, that should be fine too. If you got up to this part of the PowerPoint, you should definitely consider sailing. You're a star. Now, this is an Olympic race course. Can you imagine how would you sail it? What points of sailing would you use for each leg? The race course is dividing in legs. If we see from the start, we start upwind. Then we have to go to buoy number 1, then to buoy number 2, then to buoy number 3, then from buoy number 3 again to buoy number 1, then back to buoy number 3, and then back again from 3 to the finish line. See how would you sail it? Write down on the left, okay, which point of sailing you're going to use for each leg of this race course. I hope that you enjoyed the video, and I hope that this video serves as an inspiration for you to start sailing.